Now let's look at the end of John 9, and I love this because after Jesus shifts their perspective, Jesus begins then to minister to the man. Now here, put yourself in this guy's shoes. You've been born blind, you've been blind for decades. Now you're standing before the guy who can open your eyes. And you've probably preconceived in your mind, if you've heard about Jesus, how this miracle is going to take place, right? You've already thought, he's going to lay hands on me. I'm going to get slain in the spirit. They're going to throw one of those nice burgundy covers over me, right? And I'm going to be out. And when I wake up, there, I'm going to see the master, right? I mean, you've already gone there. And here you are, and you're standing before Jesus, and he clears his throat. He hawks a loogie. It's not quite the way I thought my miracle was going to take place, right? And if we're not careful, we have packaged God into how we should do your miracle, that if you're not careful, you're going to miss your miracle. Naaman just dipped 7 times in the Jordan River. Naaman was offended at this. Naaman was appalled at this. The rivers of my nation are so much more cleaner. And he was probably correct because I've been to the Jordan. It's so much more cleaner. I thought he was going to come and wave his hand over me. And we've got to realize God is going to do what he's going to do the way he wants to do it. And you need to be ready for whatever that looks like. They've been praying for the Messiah for years, for thousands of years. Then he shows up and they miss him because they figured it out, didn't they? And we need to be humble enough to say, God, however you want to do this, however you want this to look, I am humbling myself to say, I'm willing to do this, because Jesus hawks a loogie, spits in the mud, spits on the dirt, makes mud, wipes it on his eyes, and then tells him to go walk somewhere. How crude, Jesus. He ain't even going to assist the guy, right? And once again, how does the miracle unfold? How does God's power demonstrate in our life? I'll tell you how. Just follow the instructions. As illogical and as irrational as they may be, just follow the instructions. God will give you logical instructions at times, but there are many times he tells you to do something and it just does not make sense. Why do you want me to do that? I remember, and it's just a funny story, but what comes to my mind, I had this Toyota Camry, and I bought this car, and I drove the mess out of this thing to where it was just falling apart. I mean, the bumper was held on by a bungee cord. My trunk no longer shut, so every time I went over railroad tracks, that thing just came up and fell back down, right? It was my Jesus car, right? And I'm like saving money. I'm like, I'm going to get a new car. And every time I'd start saving, I'd get this bulk in my savings, and Holy Ghost go, give it. I'm like, no, I need a car. Have you seen my car, Jesus, right? Give it. It just doesn't make sense, God. That's exactly why he's telling you to do it. And I would just sow, and I was sowing. And one day I'm sitting in the conference, and I'm on stage, and this guy's sitting in this audience, and his wife leans over during the offering and says, God spoke to me to give that boy our car. I remember after service, they put a note within the offering, and they pulled that note out. They said, Brian, somebody gave you a car. It was just mind blowing. Why? Because God was going to do the miracle, how he was going to do the miracle, and all I had to do was just follow the instructions.